marriage show. As usual, we're here today.
Not as usual, we were not here last week.
As usual, we're here today, except for last week when I was in Lebanon. Forgive me, I couldn't join you, and it was not possible for Henrietta to do this on her own. But today we're here, and we'll talk about what we could do in Ramadan. We're not sure yet. Hope you're well and getting ready for it. It's only 2 days to go before Ramadan starts. Today's Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, most likely, is going to be the beginning of Ramadan. Again, another Ramadan is coming, and I hope and I pray that you're getting ready for it earnestly. I'm not sure if we are, but I'm trying. I don't know you are.
I'm never ready for Ramadan. It's one of my
always.
things. Assalamu alaikum everybody, good morning. And we couldn't do it last week, partially even if I wanted to, because we were all down with the flu, with sickness, with all sorts of things. So have been unwell. We'll be drinking as well because of my throat. And what are we talking about today? We are talking about MOT, and we are the Barefoot Institute. Those of you who don't know us, we work with couples, we work with individuals, helping to build confident Muslim families. And what our main objective is with these conversations is that we would like to bring a bit more maturity about relationships and how we deal with each other, how we deal with ourselves. So,
well, people are already up and ready.
Assalamu alaikum Rahma, Shireen, good morning, Munjli. I hope I pronounce your name well.
Assalamu alaikum to everybody for that.
Salam and good morning. So we at the Barefoot Institute, we care about relationships, and we care about how we conduct ourselves, how we conduct our relationships, how we build confidence, and how we build confident Muslim families. That's what we are all about. So Ramadan is coming, and as I said, I am never ready for Ramadan. I don't know about you, but I have to wait until the first day. I usually get a lot of preparation, a lot of mental and physical preparation. So I just spent the entire last couple of days cleaning up all the cupboards in the kitchen and the iron basket and, the usual house stuff. But it just helps me to kind of think about what's coming, and I don't want to be doing that in Ramadan. So I'm printing off worksheets, I'm printing off stuff that I will be doing with the children, signing up for classes. I have signed up for a couple of classes during the week that I will be doing throughout Ramadan. How do you prepare for Ramadan?
I hope you are signing up for classes. I'm doing a class with you all, if it's open. It's called 30 Rules of Life. If you haven't yet booked, please do. It's a great opportunity to reconnect with the Quran. Today, we're not going to be talking about the 30 Rules of Life, but we'll be talking about the event itself. So please do join us if you can. 30rulesoflife.com, where you learn about the Quran, you journey through the Quran, and it's practical, it's interactive. It's not your usual lecture-based program. It's very interactive. I get you to participate, think, evaluate your position with the Quran, and I get you to start asking yourself, can I have better relationship with the Quran more meaningfully, more deeply, more profoundly? That's what we do. So every day for the 30 days of Ramadan, I'll be doing a Quran class between 5 and 6 online on Zoom. You can join in live. And those of you who subscribe, you will inshallah get the recordings of it, so you can go over it again if you like. And if you miss it, you still get a recording because you get to listen to it, of course, because you've already subscribed. So please do 30 Rules of Life. I don't know if you have had the chance of talking to those who took part last year. They were very pleased, alhamdulillah.
It was a very good program, and we participate every year because you are in the background and we can hear half from the room and half for the camera. So please do join us. Our kids were doing it last year. I'm not sure how many days they will be doing this year, but probably some of them. So yes, we have an interesting topic today: marriage and Ramadan, and what do we do? How do we connect the two? What is different in Ramadan when it comes to marriage? And I was doing a live a couple of days ago on one of the groups. And I did make a reflection about how lockdown, I think, and Ramadan is related to this, is so marital problems or marital issues, when we have them, and we all have them, in lockdown they get highlighted, they get really intensified. And if you didn't have any problems, maybe they prop up, they come up because of the lockdown. And I think Ramadan is a time, and I have this philosophy, I always had it ever since I started fasting. I started fasting when I was 26. Something happens in Ramadan that makes it possible for the truth to come out about anything and everything. So I had this, every year I had this experience. It's something that I was seeking an answer to. I received some sort of help or literally a guidance that this is what it is and this is what you need to be doing, this is what you need to accept. So I remember many years ago I had a serious trouble with one of my friends, and in Ramadan everything just became so clear. I didn't do anything different, but things were becoming clear. So I believe that about marriage certain truths usually come up at a time which is sacred. And I wonder how your experience is when it comes to relationship and Ramadan. Share us your thoughts. Share with us your thoughts, and tell us what does Ramadan and relationship mean to you in that context together.
I believe Ramadan enables us to focus on ourselves. And part of that focus should also be that how much time you're spending with your relationship, with your family. And here I think everyone should make a pact. The first pact of the month of Ramadan should be no matter what your wife or your husband does, you will not be triggered. You will not respond, you will not retaliate, you will not get into an argument. You will not simplify it. Like our Prophet ﷺ said, if somebody comes to fight with you while you're fasting, you turn around and say to them, I'm really sorry, I'm fasting. And I'll sa'im, I am fasting, leave me alone. I am exercising abstention, restraint, literally. The Arabic word, sawm, means to restrain, to abstain, to learn how to withdraw yourself from otherwise ordinary situations that you would delight in and relish in an argument with your partner. I'm not sure if that's the case for everybody. I hate it. I don't like arguments, but I will not shy away from an argument for sure. In the month of Ramadan, the advice of the Prophet is make a pact with your family. Number one, pact number one, that we will have a non-argumentative Ramadan, whole 30 days. We will not argue, we will not fight, we will not bicker, we will not trigger one another. Even if we are triggered, we will not be responding. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in our family with 4 argumentative people in our family.
We have to make that argument. I mean, make that
pact.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's so here is what I'm thinking, that a lot of the times we make intentions and it lasts maybe about 3-4 days of Ramadan and then it goes for whatever reason. So I think some of these agreements that we make and you make within your family, or how you run your Ramadan timetable, remember everything is going to change. The timetable, the moods, the whole energy in the house is going to change. It's better to write it down, because some of these things just go away from us, and they don't stay. We will forget. You will forget after 4 days. I will forget after 6 days. The kids will forget after 10 days. But somewhere along the line, we will be out of alignment. So it's really, I think it's a good idea to remember, write down those agreements that you make with yourself as well as with each other. I actually ordered some Ramadan journals. And it's a really lovely, beautiful, simple book, a little bit of reflection for each day. And what it also does is it makes you write down your commitments, because it's one thing, once you write it down, it's very different than we just speak about it verbally. So make sure that you write down what your agreements are.
Well, the first one I've already said, that you don't want to argue, that fight and quarrel in the month of Ramadan as a family. It's an investment in your relationship. I'll tell you one thing, arguments and quarrels, they just drain the positivity out of a relationship. They sap at the core and the root of a relationship. There is no need for it. I don't understand why people go on and on and on for arguing for days on end. I believe this is because at the core of it, the relationship has dried up perhaps, and they're resorting to this kind of arguments, seeking attention. Perhaps that. But month of Ramadan is the worst of time to do that. You should focus on yourself, your closeness to Allah, reading of the Quran more often, every day of course. And if you can that is, read it with meaning and reflection. In fact, bring your family together and try and do it with them. If you did it with them regularly, I think you will not only benefit from this amazing exercise, but you will connect further at a different level. So, pact number 1, no arguments. Pact number 2 for Ramadan is that we will spend more time on reflective learning together. What do I mean by that? Pick up the Quran, pick up a book, pick up a hadith, pick up something that is useful, beneficial. It doesn't have to be in quote unquote Islamic book or Islamic literature per se. It can be anything, because knowledge and benefit can be gained from any source. But reflective learning environment is the second pact, I believe, any marital relationship, any home, any family should be taking up in this month of Ramadan. Does that sound reasonable?
It does sound reasonable, and I wondered, how many of us are in the position where we have, we have the children sitting with us, and this is, I know we are talking about marital context, but it's also the context of family, because what your children see that you do together as a couple, that this is what they are going to take with them into their future relationship. This is what they will be doing in their family. So yesterday, I had a really funny conversation with the kids because I started pottering around the house probably around Tuesday when I was feeling a little bit better. So I started with one kitchen cupboard and the next and the third. And then the next morning I woke up and I said, okay, I'm going to carry on with my cleaning. And my daughter said, oh, that's you got into your Ramadan mode. And that's the cleaning mode. And I'm really, really hoping that it's a tradition that I have been doing every year, that I clean out. We throw away the rubbish, we declutter, unclutter the cupboards, we give the clothes to charity. So little things that we bring as tradition into our preparation ourselves, it actually helps us, our children, to mentally focus. And then we started putting up a bunting. When they were little, we used to put the bunting and all the other things. Yesterday, I actually put up a bunting, and we couldn't stop laughing because
What's a bunting?
You know, they sell it in shops where you do it for birthdays and celebrations. And I bought a Happy Ramadan bunting as the decorating the house, and then we put it up, and then the kids didn't like it, so we had a good laugh over it because we took it off at the end. But there are things which are very couple related, but actually they extend beyond your relationship with your husband or with your wife. It's related to the family. What are you setting? What is the mode and the mood that you are setting up for Ramadan?
Lots of people have still sent messages. So your friend Asqarini Hasbi says, Assalamu alaikum, watching you from Indonesia.
Assalamualaikum.
Amranul Haq says, Assalamu alaikum. And Asqarini says, yes, it is lack of understanding and empathy towards the other. Fatima Hamza says, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam to you all. Actually, if you've just joined us, we're doing a basic MOT of your marriage in the context of Ramadan, actually, not in the context of your relationship, but in the context of Ramadan. How will you cope in this month of Ramadan, as it is here, only 2 days away, literally a day in the middle from now, 2 days if I'm being generous, away from today. I know most of us would be shopping. A lot of people who have spent a lot of time this weekend shopping and preparing for Ramadan, stockpiling on spices, on lentils, on rice, on oil, with all sorts of dry food that they think, let's get it out of the way before Ramadan begins. And it comes from a good place, because they don't want to spend and waste time in the month of Ramadan chasing food or looking for food. So it's a good thing. But just like you have been spending a lot of time shopping before Ramadan, are you actually making any preparation for the month of Ramadan for your family, for your husband and your wife as a couple? So I've given you two very important pacts which you should be making, agreements that you should be making with your family. Number one is non-argumentative, non-triggering, non-aggressive, non-quarreling argument. A peaceful space is what you're agreeing to. Number two, you're going to be reflective learning together. You're going to be creating a space for reflective learning together. Reading the Quran, reading the books, anything like you like together as a family. Husband and wife and children. If you don't have any children, just husband and the wife is fine. I know I'm maybe demanding too much, but Ramadan doesn't come every day. It comes once a year for 30 days. And it's amazing discipline. So those are the two things I've put out. Oh, we've got some more messages, mashallah. Maryam Noor says, Assalamu alaikum. Shamim Zafar says, Assalamu alaikum. And Asif Ansari says, Assalamu alaikum. What can I say? I failed my MOT years ago. The spare tire is, what?
Overinflated.
Overinflated. Are you talking about the size of your belly, Asif? He's talking about the tire, I think.
No, I don't think so.
No? I think you can lose it this Ramadan if you really fast. Stop eating those samosas that your wife cooks. She's such a good cook.
She is a good cook.
Tell your wife not to cook those fatty, amazing pakoras that she makes, or all the other jalebis and rasmalais that you buy from amazing shops going all around London. Whatever you're doing, Asif.
Oh, the belly indeed.
He's
All
right. I guess.
And I was trying to be nice to you. Come on.
For the month of Ramadan, what suggestion do you have for doing an MOT of your Ramadan in the context of your relationship, Asif? So I've proposed two. One is no arguments. I'm not sure if that's possible with you and your wife, but inshallah, hope so. And number two, you are going to be reflective and learning. You're going to be learning together, reading the Quran together. Somebody said to me, something very profound. The brother said, I don't know how to read the Quran. I said to him, how old are you? He said, I'm 45. I said, have you been fasting in the month of Ramadan for the last however many years? He goes, yeah. Out of 45 years, I can say hands on heart, for 30 years I've fasted without missing a single one. I said, if you spent 15 minutes each Ramadan for the last 30 years, how many hours would you have spent? He goes, I don't know. So 15 every year in the month of Ramadan for 30 days.
So for 10 days, it's 150 minutes, 450 minutes.
How many hours
for
is
each
that?
Ramadan.
How
So
many hours is
I
that?
don't know, take the calculator out.
450.
450 hours.
So we're just dividing that by 6.
460 minutes, sorry. 450 minutes.
Yeah, well, modern technology, when we have 460 minutes divided by what?
By 60.
60.
So that's 7.5 hours roughly.
Each year.
Each Ramadan. So for 30 years.
You would have had 230 hours.
That's right.
230 hours had he done that, right? We have 30 juz of the Quran. Actually, even better. Let's divide this by 114 chapters of the Quran. He would have been able to read 2 chapters every Ramadan in the last 30 years.
Right.
So, brothers and sisters, reading 2 chapters over 30 days is nothing.
For you, it's nothing, but for somebody who doesn't know how to read it, it's an amazing achievement.
No, when I say nothing, in the sense that, in the sense of how long does it take? Of course, it's an amazing achievement. I'm talking about how long does it take. So it is the true essence of, the true message in what I'm saying is that actually if you take a measure of what you've done and look back at it, you will realize how many Ramadan has come and gone and you were not able to attain the best of the month of Ramadan. Every year, Allah has given you 30 days to train yourself and your relationship. And if you haven't done that, even if you are single, training your relationship with your parents, with your siblings, with people that you love, people who are substantial in your life, would have been amazing. So the third pact I'd propose is invest in your relationship this month of Ramadan for 30 days. What do I mean by invest in your relationship?
I don't know what you mean, but you tell us what you mean.
I mean, do something good for your partner on a daily basis. Small things, even if it is just helping out in the kitchen. If you're a man, help out in the kitchen. If you don't help out in the kitchen, make a habit of doing that. Even if it is only for 10 minutes. Even if you came into the kitchen and said to your wife, I know you have cooked. Alhamdulillah, thank you for cooking iftar. Let me do the washing up. Thank you very much for cooking, and let's have iftar together, but after iftar, I'll tidy up. Don't make excuses such as, oh, I've got to go to Taraweeh and I'm sorry, I'm going. See you, salam alaikum, and run. Don't make that excuse. Instead, give a bit of time to your family. And if you're a wife, if your husband has been working outside the whole day, perhaps gone to work early in the morning, comes back in the evening and haven't had a sleep, do something nice for him. Offer him, say, you know what, you've just come back, it's the month of Ramadan, you must be exhausted. Go to sleep, I'll wake you up after 10, 20 minutes, half an hour, and then you'll be refreshed, rejuvenated. You can't offer a cup of tea to him, of course. Say words of kindness and generosity to one another. Make the other person feel special in the month of Ramadan. So invest a bit of time with your spouse. A quality time, time that works, enlivens your relationship, enriches it and connects it. Does that make sense? Again, I'm asking.
Yeah, sure.
So the fourth thing I've suggested so far.
The third or fourth?
This is the third?
Fourth.
Fourth, correct.
Yeah.
So number one, you should have a no argument, no fighting pact. Number two, you should have reflective, connective, learning environment in your relationship. What was number three? I did it. This is the third one. Number three is that you should, brothers and sisters, invest in your relationship. It's not too much to ask. Invest in your relationship. Actually, number three was read the Quran more, even if it's 10, 15 minutes. That's what's number three. Right? So, on your own time, 10, 15 minutes of reading the Quran. 10 minutes. I know Imam Suhaib Webb from America recently made a post, and I saw that. It was very powerful, actually. He talked about how we don't make excuses for Netflix. We don't make excuses for our phones, our Facebook, our feeds, our this, our that, but we make every excuse under the sun when it comes to our relationship with the Quran. So, brothers and sisters, are you trying to read something from before?
Yes, I was just looking at some
Okay, let's go back.
Oh, lots of comments. Thank you
MashaAllah.
for joining us. Thank you. Shahina is. Someone said, I think arguments happen when one party gives over their responsibilities, and by doing so, the party gives over their authority. The oppressors want to take over the authority power without taking responsibility by fighting and intimidation. If you want authority, then take your responsibility seriously. What are your views on this suggestion about why arguments happen in a relationship? We will probably come back to it in a minute.
Arguments or no arguments, all I'm saying is call it for a ceasefire. Call for a ceasefire. That's all.
But you see that the thing is with Ramadan, and this is one of the struggles for a lot of people, and I speak for those people who find fasting not a walk in a park. Because anger and the triggers are so much easier in Ramadan than any other time.
Yeah, but that's something else.
I know, but I know couples, for example, that somebody called me the other day that what do I do with my husband who is flat on the bed? He's a convert. He's flat on the bed most of the days. He's finding it extremely difficult to fast, and he can't participate. He can't do anything. So
there is a key message here.
What is a key message?
Message is, and this is me being respectful. Converts normally find fasting very difficult, and I think you would probably testify to that. Fasting is very difficult for you.
Anytime.
Because you've not been trained into it from the very young age. That's why, brothers and sisters, don't neglect in training your children. Even if they fast one day during the weekend, if they're going to school, and if they're able to, especially if they've reached the age of puberty, you should have given them incentives to fast from before. So training yourself from a day when they're younger to detach themselves from food. This idea that if I don't eat, I'll die. It's an existential threat. I can understand why a revert who has eaten every day of his or her life for 30, 40 years or 25 years and now is a fully fledged adult suddenly is being told to fast. I'm not used to this. I understand why they would struggle. But it's also that mental block that we create that we can overcome. It's actually a mental block. You accept that reality for yourself. In other environments, for example, if you were doing marathon and you were training for it, and if somebody was your trainer, they'll push you, they'll push you, they'll push you. They'll push you beyond your capacity, and eventually you'll overcome your barriers and you will do marathon, you'll be successful. People get into high positions of power, achievements by endurance training. Ramadan is an endurance training. So whether you're a revert or no revert, being flat on your face or on your back, on your bed, 30 days of the month is not going to help you. I have sympathy for you, but it's not going to help you. What you have to do is get out of your bed every day, a little bit more, a little bit more. Train yourself, wean yourself of that food fear that if I don't eat, I'll die. You can do it. I know you can do it. People who have embraced Islam have done it. There are ways of doing it. So my recommendation would be not be afraid. Conquer your fear, like we always say to people who come to us for coaching and counseling. You can conquer the fear. What's the worst that can happen if you fast? Imagine. You're hungry for a whole day. You're not going to die. Nobody has died of fasting.
No. I think there's something really important here. There is a psychological...
Yes, psychological.
There is a psychological war inside of you, because this is what it is for a convert, is that you really, really want to fast. Forget about wanting to fast. I really want to enjoy my fast. But you can't, because physically you are, and I don't think it's just a mental thing, it's a literally physical thing that we have to not just prepare one day before Ramadan, we have to start doing, especially us converts who drink a lot of coffee, we need to start training ourselves off from those things that will later on we'll be thankful for. We have done it. Headaches and all the physical stuff that we get, sugar, probably a lot of sugar that we eat before, when it's withdrawn, obviously your body is going to react. So the physical war inside the body also causing a psychological war. Now psychologically, what does it mean to us is that people who find it not a walk in a park to fast, then we get triggered much quicker. We get angrier much quicker.
Why?
So,
because you've already accepted that this is a problem. In your mind, you've made a problem in your head, become bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a problem, I get that. That's the starting point. But if you allow it to fester and grow, then that problem is going to be overwhelming. I'm a human being just like you are. Just because you're a revert, it doesn't make you anything different. I'm still human. I eat, you eat. You go to sleep, I go to sleep. We all have the same basic needs. Why is it that I'm not struggling with fasting as much as you are? I believe it's because you have accepted this to be a problem. But in other environments, when you didn't take that as a problem, you conquered it. Other things, you conquered that. So it's not just a physical problem. It's about how do we get ourselves, and I like your idea of weaning off things that cause us most trouble. That's fine. But it is still an issue in your mind that you have really got this in your head that Ramadan is going to kill you.
No, I don't think it's about Ramadan killing us. I think it's the idea that if something is hard, in every person's life there is something that's hard about
Yes,
Islam.
true.
You know, for some people it's fasting, for other people it's giving away the money and they can't get rid of their zakat. Whereas if you ask me, I give you anything I have, you can take all my wealth, I have no problem with that. But you ask me to fast and I will be so what I'm bringing up, and I think I just brought it up because of the argument, is that we have to be a little bit more cautious, I think, in Ramadan when it comes to arguments, because arguments are not as straightforward. They probably will come from a place where people don't want to argue. But when your body is primed for that, it's not just training your mind, it's training your body too. And we know this from neuroscience, is that when we are arguing and there's a conflict situation, it's not just our mind is in conflict, it's our body is in conflict too. So our, the adrenaline, the dopamine goes up, our physical, we have physical reactions when it comes to conflict and triggering. And in Ramadan, something really amazing happens, is that when you are fasting, you can actually, there is no food that is fueling your body, so there is nothing that is perpetuating this, because you are in a different spiritual state, and it's the spiritual state that is going to help you to moderate the way you argue and moderate the fight response, the flight and fight response, is that moderation of what's going on in the body. And for some people it's easier, for some people it's a lot harder. So I think it's a point of reference and a point of thinking about how do I moderate myself when I'm feeling that I'm getting into an argument. And I think when it comes to authority, that what the sister is mentioning, when it comes to authority and power and all those things, in Ramadan there is no other time than in Ramadan to think about. There's no other power. I have literally no power over anything. I can argue, I can fight, but I don't hold any power over anything, over anybody else. I don't have any influence in that sense. I can state what I feel, and this is why we get it wrong, I think, when it comes to arguments and fights. We can state what's important, but how can I state it with love? How can I state it without not being moderated about what I'm saying? Because when we are not moderated, our body goes into a help, and it will perpetuate the fights even more. The body and the mind works together, I think, in this.
I'm just listing down things that we could do, inshallah, as you were talking. So forgive me for looking down as though I'm hunching away. I'm just putting it up for people to remember what we've just talked about. So
I have a point to give.
Go ahead. Invest in
simplicity. Simplicity is one of the best things that ever happened. Many years ago, when I realized that we make Ramadan very complicated for ourselves. We make elaborate planning, over planning. We want to do everything. We want to read the whole Quran in one day. We overkill, and we just don't know how to be simple and straightforward about this. So I would say simplicity is one of my tips. Is that make your life simpler in Ramadan. So whatever simplicity means to you, simplify your meals. I know a lot of people, men, women particularly, who spend an awful lot of time, before iftar, cleaning, cooking, making the meals, then getting the tables ready, and then it's 15 different dishes on the table. Simplify your life, simplify the way you prepare, simplify your learning plans. Many years ago, I used to have a long, elaborate list of things I want to achieve, and only to feel horrible when I didn't by the end of Ramadan. So it's the little things that you do. And if simple means I do one ayah, but if you're consistent with that one ayah that you memorize. So for example, one of the things I love about this journal is that it has one dua that you will learn every single day. Simple, short, straightforward dua. If you don't know it, you will memorize it, and by the end of it you will have 30 du'as in your pocket that you have memorized. You memorize certain portions of the Quran, but simplifying it means you are not overcomplicating what you're planning.
Some people think they have to pray a whole day. Awful, and that's not the intention of Ramadan.
Whole night, you mean?
Whole day and night. Some people do that. So Allah says in the Quran, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. Allah says Allah wishes ease for you, not difficulty out of Ramadan. So when we talk about simplifying Ramadan, you do your 5 daily prayers. So this is what you do. Of course, you wake up slightly later than normal. In my case, most mornings I will wake up around about 10 because I've gone to sleep in the early hours of the morning. After suhoor most of the time. Well, at 10 o'clock I wake up. Freshen myself, I'll get ready. By 11 o'clock, I'm ready to do whatever I need to do. Then split up your day into segments of simple things that you can do. 5 daily prayers, simple. Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib. These are Isha, should be simple. Taraweeh has become a burden for many people, made into an obligation. It's not an obligation. You should do your best to do Taraweeh if you can. Our mosques are closed. Some people will punish themselves to pray 20 rak'ah of Taraweeh and for hours at the expense of their own health and family and the work next day. Ramadan, Allah does not want that from you. Allah wants you to do small things consistently, regularly. So at every hour you were to do worship of Allah for 5 minutes is far better than worshipping Allah for intensely 3 hours and then being exhausted for the rest of the day. So simplify your Ramadan. Spread out the acts of worship throughout the day. Charity, adhkar, Quran, prayer. Can you see? You can spread it out throughout the day. Every day you can do things, but small amounts regularly. So 6 things we've listed over there. No fighting pact, reflecting and learning space, read the Quran every day, even small amount, offer an act of generosity to your spouse, your partner, your children, your parents, invest in your relationship, and 6, make Ramadan simple. These are all in the context of your relationship, remember, and keep everybody involved. So when we say no fighting pact, I mean having agreement with the whole family, not just yourself, with the children, with husband, the wife, the parents, everybody involved. Have that conversation. Have a conversation about saying, how can we make it reflective? Can we learn together? If you can't learn together, join a class. I'm offering you to join my class every day, 5 o'clock till 6 o'clock. Last year, families from all over the country and the world, America, Canada, all they did was they opened up their computer, typed in the Zoom link, sat down with the 5 generations. One family had 5 generations: grandparents, great-grandparents, children, grandchildren, all sat together in the same room. And they all learned. And it was interesting. One brother wrote to me saying, it's remarkable that you were able to hold together all generations at one time to the Quranic message of Allah. Of course you can, because it is the word of Allah. So learn together. Third, read the Quran together on your own. Read it. It's important to understand, to read. Learn to read. Number 4, offer acts of generosity. We've already made that very clear. Number 5, invest in your relationship. And number 6, make Ramadan simple. We're going to add more as we go along. Let's see if people have got any suggestions.
What are your Ramadan challenges, by the way? I talked about my challenge with fasting, which I do every year, unfortunately still going on. What is your Ramadan challenge when it comes to relationship? What is your Ramadan fasting challenge, or whatever you feel that the relationship is struggling? Where are your struggles?
I have lots of questions here, points here. Mariam Noor says he's doing this for the sake of Allah and he will receive the reward, whoever, of course. Shamim Zafar, expectations aren't meant, and that causes arguments. Correct. We are individuals, we'll have different expectations. Living alone and fasting is not an issue. Becomes complicated of these complex personalities. Fasting on your own is very boring. I'm sorry to say this. I hate fasting on my own. I wouldn't be able to fast and survive without the communal connections. This year and last year has been very difficult for most people, especially if you're single or on your own for whatever reason and you're not with anybody. It is very, very difficult. I appreciate that. I like my fasting to be broken with people. I can't invite people to our house anymore because of the COVID restrictions. I wish we could. If it was up to me, I would love to invite one new person to my house every day for breaking iftar with us. If it was up to me, and if it was a COVID restricted environment, I'd love one person, different person, to come and have iftar with us every day. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could do that? I believe it would. It would connect us with people. So I understand iftar on your own and Ramadan on your own could be difficult, but we have to do it, brothers and sisters. We're still under COVID restrictions, sadly. So connect with Zoom, connect with your phone, put your Zoom on and have iftar with your family, even though they're in different parts of the world. Can you imagine that? I think that's not bad. Physically you're not present, but at least virtually you can see one another. You can hear the other person munching away. That's enough.
Yeah, I don't like Zoom iftars. We tried it last year and it was just very chaotic, and it's not the real.
It's never the real
It's
deal.
not the real thing.
Of course. Anyway,
Aisha is saying, I can totally understand, Sister Henrietta, even people who are born Muslim struggle with fasting, and it can fill some of us with dread if we are distracted with work, etc. And we can feel we can't make as much time in preparing for Ramadan as we would like. Like to take a marathon and not a sprint. When I feel out of control and argumentative, I visualize my nafs expressing itself, and I feel the need for it to go out of the door.
very beautifully said.
Nicely put.
Shamim Zafar says, this year I've told the children food will be simple. Well done,
Excellent.
Shamim. Fantastic. That's how it should be. Mariam Noor, actually, talk about food and simplicity. Our families, I'm sorry to say this, forgive me for saying it. Ladies, you are wonderful and you're very kind. You're very generous. But when you cook so generously, sometimes you overcook. I'm not saying always, sometimes. You need to pull yourself back a bit. Outside Ramadan, please be generous, no problem, with terms of cooking, I know. But in Ramadan, make it simple for everybody. Cook healthy food, wholesome food, and keep it simple. If you spend 3-4 hours just preparing for iftar, actually you've wasted too much time. A friend of mine said, look, I like my lush food, so don't tell me not to do that. I said, okay, how can we change that? How can we make it easier for you? So they said, okay, we'll freeze our food. So 1 week before Ramadan, they cook the entire 30 days meal.
Whoa.
All 30 dishes done, put in the fridge, and they know exactly what's ready for the whole month of Ramadan. They don't have to do anything. Bring it out, freezer, put it in the oven, it's cooked and ready, and just eat at the end.
Good idea.
And that I thought was a brilliant way of managing the desire to have lush food. But if the month of Ramadan is all about learning how to restrain, then the desire to have lush food in itself is a problem. Though you should have healthy food. Anyway, let's go on.
Simplicity is the best. Mariam Noor, some sister, yes, of course, but it's
Simple
still
soup, salad, and pita bread. This is beautiful.
brilliant, lovely. It's still very difficult and demanding for him, and he's only human, not superhuman. In Ramadan, it's much more strenuous, and I want to support him further.
This is to do with perhaps that person who
the husband
who is struggling,
lying on bed. Who is
So I would actually not leave it so late. I wouldn't leave it so late. I would do some coaching before, some counseling before, some support service before, and help him wean off. Because, for example, you love coffee. You've weaned yourself off 2 months before.
I don't feel like a human being for the last month, since I haven't had a proper coffee for a month.
Well, that's a problem
already,
well,
and I'm having another month without coffee completely. So
but that's a problem, because you have to you're feeding a craving, and if you don't have that craving met, it's not normal. I get that, and I respect.
We all have our vice.
I understand,
Everybody
but
has
this is
their vice.
one that destroys your Ramadan. Last year, what happened? I still remember. You did your fasting, and then you stopped fasting for your normal period, and then you thought you will not fast again, but Allah gave you a good punishment. I
I had a coffee, and then the day after, I was literally flat on the bed,
and you had to start fasting, and
I was sick.
And I don't think you realized that you're going to fast again. You thought this would be the end of Ramadan for
that's
this
what
year.
I thought, yeah.
That assumption was quite badly broken when you had to start fasting again. And I would say, brothers and sisters, if you have got rid of a vice, get rid of it forever. And then you just thrive. That's me talking.
Yeah, of course. Someone who has never touched coffee in his life.
Mariam
Great.
Noor
Saria
says,
Khan, Total Agrohan is so needed the conversation before Ramadan. I overfill my mug in Ramadan, get frustrated not seeing the partner up his game in Ramadan, and feel the need to do more, and then burn out. Absolutely.
Don't chase your partner in the month of Ramadan so that they can do the same or more like you. Please don't do that. Your journey in the month of Ramadan is yours. You can be an alien in the month of Ramadan inside your own house and say to everybody, really sorry, I'm very busy cleaning myself, cleaning my thoughts, my behavior. Whatever you want to do, I'll support and respect you, but I'm not going to chase you. It's not your business to chase, especially adults. Children, however, need help and support and training. But adults don't. If they have chosen not to take part in it, what can you do except wish them well? Okay, you don't want to do it? What can I say? You're missing on the greatest opportunity of training yourself to become better. And if a person doesn't see that, you can't put a gun to their head, can you? It's not fair, it's not right.
Actually, I'm just thinking Ramadan is probably one of the times where your individual journey in life is tied in with your individual journey with Ramadan itself, but it's symbolically, it also means that no matter how much you love your partner, no matter how much you belong to each other, no matter how much you feel like you were born and meant to be together for the rest of your life because you are so soulmates, there is an individual journey here that people have to start thinking about, because relationship is just like fasting. Actually, relationship is individual, but it's also collective, and we need to know the difference. When is the time for individual, and when is the time for collective. So when it comes to worship and Ramadan, the individual journey we take is ours. Nobody can tell you, can't tell me how much Quran I should be reading, because I need to know my limits. I need to know what I'm doing. And
What Rasul Sallallahu said, when you start feeling bored and tired, stop.
Yeah.
Because nothing is going into your head or your spirit. But stop, take a pause, take a break, come back later on. Somebody just wrote, Alison Al-Tawil has written, but some of us need to wake up at 6 o'clock to go to work. Yes, we know you do. So my recommendation is sacrifice some moments from your Taraweeh. I said to somebody recently, what time is Taraweeh nowadays? 9:30. Don't stay up till 12 o'clock. 9:30, do your Isha, do your Taraweeh, hit the bed at 10. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. 5 hours, 3:30 even. 5.5 hours of sleep, solid sleep. Then you wake up, do your suhoor, stay up. When you come back from work or at lunchtime at work, close your eyes on your chair and tell your colleagues, I'm fasting, I'm going to take a power nap. I used to do that, I used to work in the council. For 20 minutes every day in the month of Ramadan, after prayers, I'd come from the mosque, I would sit on my chair, close my eyes, put my blinkers on, I used to carry them, and I'd put my phone on alarm. 20 minutes later, I'm awake, I'm fully rejuvenated. You need to become practical and not make excuses.
And you have to be also following what's happening, because Alison, we have the very similar experience that I don't work in Ramadan, so I don't need to wake up for work, but I have to wake up to take my children to the school bus, because they are going to school. So my daughter travels an hour from home, which means I have to drop her to the bus stop at 7:15, which means we have to get up at 6:30, get her ready, take her out, get in the car, drop her, come back, and I can't go back to sleep at the time. So we have to be working with what we have in our hand and make adjustments. I never used to know how to take a power nap. Now I close my eyes 20 minutes, I can do power nap. I had to learn how to do it because literally I could have not survived. Same with the afternoon. I am going to be picking up my son, who is going back to school earlier than my daughter. I will be in the car driving 2 hours every afternoon. That will be my time to rest, but I won't be able to because I'm driving. So we have to be practical about what's happening with our timetable, and always making sure that we put in the time for rest and for rejuvenation. Because
I've got
we will die.
a great light bulb moment came into my head.
What happened?
As you're driving back with the kids from school, I think we should invest in a good self-development CD that you can listen to with them in the car. Do you have a CD drive in your car?
I do.
I think we should get a CD or even a USB stick and get some programs that you can download from internet for children. Remember the 7 effective habits of children, and children got to memorize, right? Because
they laughed at me when I started, and they said, "No, this is actually quite good."
And they learned it. They learned it. I wonder if it's a good idea to revisit that, because at this age, and then after they've listened, as you're driving, you can have a conversation with them because you've got the kids at the back.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good way to not only engage the children but also keep your mind stimulated. Very good point. I really like that. As Karini said, yes, simplicity is the key. Mariam Noor says, what's this? Manjli.
Kohli, you have to accept your health, or can you change your health? Only worry about what you can change, and if you can't change it, then acceptance will bring you peace, inshallah.
I didn't see the health question. So Allah says that in the Quran, by the way, brothers and sisters, that Ramadan's fasting is only an obligation upon those people who are healthy, those who are adult. Okay, a healthy and adult. You're exempt from fasting if you are unwell, if you're sick, if you've got a condition that will be worse off if you fast, if you've got illnesses, and if you're menstruating as a woman, or you're even traveling. So Allah has given exemption to people. If you are exempt, you can never make up those fasts of those ones that you've missed. Then you have to make sure you compensate for it, and there is a way of doing that. Don't make your life miserable. If you've got health issues, Allah has given you an exemption. What are you looking for?
Fasting as a couple is beautiful, but single is hard. But alhamdulillah, I have my children and cats. Yes, you know, what I love about this is that while everyone has an ideal image that this is how it should be looking, this is how it's wonderful, and this is how it's ideal, actually we all have our realities. We have a reality for all of us what fasting looks like this year. Last year, I will be very honest with you, I really loved actually last year's Ramadan, because it was lockdown. We didn't know how long this is going to last. I really enjoyed the simplicity of it. You know, we set up mosque. My kids were laughing their head off when I was setting up the mosque in the living room. But it was a simple and homey iftar, which was very, very different for us, because my husband usually is out during Ramadan. He works away, either away from home or he's just busy in Ramadan, and we had a lot of Ramadans where he was not around for iftar. So
That's a true point, but it's sadly the way I am. This lockdown has been a blessing. I couldn't go very far, so I'm here.
that's what I'm saying. So we all have a reality,
Yeah.
and every year that reality might be different.
And I'm actually happy that I didn't have to travel so much this year and last year. I didn't have to travel so much as I did last year or the year before, actually. I was at home. I actually enjoyed it. And I felt the blessings at home. I think I've just found Manjli Crawley's message. Bismillah, I'm disabled, and my husband does all the domestic duties as well as going out to work. He does all the housework, groceries, looking after our children and taking care of me with my disabilities, mashallah. I feel very guilty as I don't know how to give him a break or better support him, as he is so exhausted, yet I can't take away any of his burdens. It sometimes puts a strain on our relationship. My dear sister, I'm really sorry first that we missed it. Manjli Crawley, we should have looked more carefully. May Allah make it easy for you. You shouldn't feel guilty about it because you have disability and somebody is there to care and support you. But you do know that he can actually get care support from the council, the social services, our country's NHS and all the services available do offer carers a respite, a break every so often. So if you can negotiate something like that, that could help. Just as a physical suggestion of support from outside. If you've got family members who can support you, that would be also useful. But as a carer for you, he does need a little bit of a break, physical break as well as mental break. We can only make dua for you. I'm sorry we can't help you because we are far away and we're not allowed to. But you surely can get help and support from the local council because they do give carers respite and break. When my mother was caring for my father and we were supporting her, she was given respite by allocated care workers who came and looked after my father for particular hours of the day, so my mother could focus on herself and have a bit of a break. So please do seek out for it and don't suffer in silence. And I'm very grateful that you actually raised it with us so that we can have a conversation about it.
I also wanted just to kind of remind all of us is that when he's looking after you, he's also getting a reward for it.
He is getting huge amounts of reward.
And it's that conversation sometimes that keeps people going, is that it's not just telling people be patient and it's going to go away, because your condition, it seems like it's not going away, but it's having those conversations with him that will tie you together closer to each other, to talk about how much reward he's getting for what he's doing, and you are supporting him in that way. You are allowing enough space for him to share these things with you, because that's part of his ibadah as well. Looking after each other is part of our ibadah.
And also test for both of you. Imagine Allah is testing him and you don't feel guilty about what he's doing. He's gaining his reward, he's caring for you, he loves you. But I would recommend that social services and others who can give you some respite get involved. We have actually missed a lot of messages here. Look at what you can control.
I think we read it already.
Unite our hearts upon. Okay, this is a dua, fantastic. I plan to do some sessions of reflection with my sons, 5 and 3 years old. They have been asking many questions regarding Allah and just general Islamic themes after I've tried to introduce certain concepts in a simplified, child-friendly way. I want to build up on this. I am just concerned how I structure it all without overwhelming my children. I don't know what's the best practice to create the learning environment. The other challenge that concerns me is that as work mother, I am not sure how I'll be able to offer a consistent routine in between work, attending to their needs after they return from school and preparing for iftar. I am not one to cook a huge fancy iftar. I also have a 1-year-old boy. Husband does help, but
teaching duty is the one that ends up falling on me. So I know this really well. So what is a good learning environment? So first of all, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but a learning environment is free from distractions. Number one, you don't have your phones around. You allocate a time. And
but she's saying she just struggles with time even. Forget about everything else. She's got so much on. Husband is not helping. My immediate reaction is, why isn't the husband helping?
Well, she has got 3 and 5-year-old children and a 1-year-old boy. So I would probably say that a 5-year-old maximum attention span would be about 15 minutes. So you have to be very realistic about this. There's no point of planning 2-hour sessions with your children at that age. For 15 minutes every day, either when they come back from school, I don't know whether they are
I've got a suggestion
school.
for them.
Can I finish
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just create something very simple, a 15-minute bubble. Don't even call it a learning environment, just call it a learning bubble. And which means they will come home, they will wash up, or whenever you're ready with them, for 15 minutes undistracted time, which is what I would recommend. And that undistracted time is what you are looking at. Either you have a print, I don't know if you have found any, there are lots of PDFs going around in WhatsApp conversations and different forums on Facebook as well. People are putting up printable, simple, straightforward things that you can use and you can just have conversations about. But also because it's 3 and 5-year-old children, they would just love to do things like decoration, incorporate the house environment into their learning. So when you're decorating, when you're doing, we used to do, when the kids were little, we used to cut out shapes of dates, 30 shapes of dates in a big piece of paper, and we wrote a hadith on it. Each date would have a hadith on it, and we would discuss, we would talk about it. Literally doesn't take a very long, and if you take simple hadith literature, you just give the children some basic understanding. They can color it, they can play with it, they can do a couple of things, but no more than 15 minutes.
What you did last time, when we were kids, you did scrapbook with them in Ramadan.
They always had a lab book, a scrapbook.
So Ramadan scrapbook is a good one. There is another one. There is an online audio service called Mirage Audio.
That's right.
They've got fantastic stories for children, very suitable for that age group of kids.
Yes.
And kids will be glued to those stories. And I would recommend you go to Mirage Audio, download their app. It's available on app, I think, and you can play a story each day. Even if they were to listen to 2 stories a day and repeat them again and again, that will give them a very beautiful Islamic moral messages that Mirage Audio has put together. It's a brilliant project, by the way. I'm one of the advisors as an imam on that particular project, and I've been fantastic. I'm so impressed by the quality of their production. Mirage Audio you can get, inshallah. That was in my head as you were saying. My suggestion was Mirage Audio because kids may not have much of an attention. Askarini says, yes, wasting too many hours in the kitchen. Somebody has written in Bengali wishing us well. Manji Collins is my comment about, no, I'm so sorry, Sister Manjli, we found it. Then S.H. Begum says, I think the more you think about challenges you might face, the harder it will be. We are still in pandemic. No need to go to any iftar, dawah, etc. Enjoy peace, cook and eat simple food. Take each day as it comes and make reasonable goals that are achievable. Enjoy it, and it's only once a year. Your point. All of the things that you've said, this sister is written it down, alhamdulillah.
Oh, we didn't see the message, so...
Anyway, Salma Rahman, didn't you read that?
What's the resource you mentioned for the kids? I believe that Muslim Mamas, you can go on, there's a Facebook group, there are lots of members on it, and there's a lot of PDFs running around. I don't check them because my kids are older now, but I have seen them. It's called Muslim Mamas.
That's a nice name.
Yeah, we have a Muslim Mamas group on Facebook.
Are we allowed as daddies?
No, you're not.
Oh no! Well, we need to create a Muslim Papas group.
Muslim Dad.
Dad's group. But actually...
So there are some resources available on that one.
And also Mirage Audio. I'm really recommending Mirage Audio. So if there is a spike in Mirage Audio today, it would be very good, inshallah. Manjali says, Jazakallah khair Imam Sahib and Sister Henrietta for replying to me directly. Zahir Haq Salam to both. MashaAllah, you are both doing wonderful work. Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless you. So we have listed 6. You made something here that I didn't put. You said make Ramadan simple. What else did you say? Number 7?
I don't know.
Okay, maybe we haven't mentioned number 7 yet. Number 7, this is the biggest one I believe in the month of Ramadan you should do. And that is, you should take 5 minutes or 10 minutes to reach out to your family members who are not with you. Pick up the phone, call them and say, Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to reconnect and seek your forgiveness, your dua, your support for whatever I'm doing, whatever I've done in my life. I don't know how many times I've hurt you. I don't know how many times I may have said something wrong or rude to you. I don't know what I've done in my life. If I was to account for them, I probably would be miserable. Is it possible that you would be able to forgive me for this month of Ramadan? And maybe we can invest in our relationship and make it better. This is something I recommend to everybody, that try and pick up the phone and reconnect with your family members. Do you think that's a bad idea? You're looking at me thinking, well, what are you talking about?
No, I'm just thinking how hard it is, but sometimes you have to do it with your spouse instead of just...
You don't have to pick up the phone with your spouse.
No, you can speak to your spouse directly, or the children right in front of you. But it's a very challenging one. I think this is probably one of the most challenging one. And spelling is.
It's okay. I will get it there, inshallah. Reconnect with your family, even if it means you just pick up the phone and you just say to them, I'm really sorry, I did this, I need to reconnect, I need to readjust my relationship with you. If you want me to list the things that I've done wrong, I can try. But if you are generous enough to forgive me, we can rebuild. That's the hardest one, but we can all do as much as we can. Remember, month of Ramadan only is an opportunity to get closer to Allah, closer to ourselves and our fellow human beings. 3 connections we make in the month of Ramadan: connect with Allah, connect with your fellow human beings, and connect with yourself. Allah is very easy and simple. We've discussed it all this time. Alhamdulillah, Allah out of His generosity hasn't made it difficult. Connecting with our families and friends is more complicated.
I think that's probably the most challenging for most of us, because it's easier to sit back, think about, okay, I'm doing my own work, focusing on myself, but actually picking up a conversation. But then again, I think about it all the time. You know, one of the things that we keep hearing from everybody, and in my profession, it is the thing: live your life as if it was your last day, every single day.
Yeah.
It would fundamentally change everything about what we think, what we pay attention to, what matters, what doesn't matter. If you knew that you won't be able to wake up tomorrow morning, how would your day be like? What would you do? And I think for me, Ramadan is a reminder of that if I don't reach next Ramadan, what are the things that I haven't tidied up? Maybe that's why psychologically, that's why I'm tidying up cupboards, because I'm thinking if I pass away before next Ramadan, somebody has to clean up those cupboards.
Those are physical tidying up. What about tidying up with your relationship?
I'm talking about emotional tidying up, and I'm talking about getting rid of the things that are actually just sapping the life out of you, because you carry unforgiveness is something you carry within you. It's not something that the other person carries. It's
resentment.
You carry the resentment within you, and it's heavy.
Very heavy. Indeed, it is too heavy. Brothers and sisters, we're nearly coming up to 11 o'clock. What should we do in the month of Ramadan? And would you like us to do a program in the month of Ramadan on Sundays, as we have been doing for the last so many years? What do you think, Anna?
I think we should do at 11 o'clock instead of 10. I don't think we will be fresh as a cucumber at 10 o'clock. I won't be, for sure. So I'm proposing 11 o'clock.
Okay then, ladies and gentlemen, it's decided, Henrietta has decided that we'll be doing a program every Sunday at 11 o'clock. Is that okay with you? Yeah, Sabia Khan said, yes, please. Sunday, inshallah, we'll be doing a program at 11 o'clock for our Barefoot marriage show as usual. Okay, a couple of other announcements in that case. So I am doing Quran program every day between 5 and 6 for the families. If you've got a family, you can come together and learn. For you to register, you have to go to 30 Rules of Life. 30rulesoflife.com. 30rulesoflife.com. Please book. The dates to book is going very fast. We've only got 1 or 2 days left. Tuesday, we will begin our first lesson at 5 o'clock. I'll give you the Zoom link for those who have subscribed. Unfortunately, it is not a free session, so you have to pay for it. It's only £5 a session. It's very, very cheap. And the entire family with one Zoom link at home can listen and participate in the same family, of course. It's not for everybody, for you to share. It's for your family. So do go to it, 30rulesoflife.com. That's the first thing. Secondly, on Sundays, the family study circle that I take at 6 o'clock will be cancelled. I will not be able to do a family study circle because after that program, I'll have iftar program online, and there is also going to be an online Taraweeh program that I will be doing. All of that is available online on my Facebook, on my YouTube. You'll see them all, inshallah. But most important announcement I would like to make is please join 30rulesoflife.com for you and your family. Only a few more seats left before we close and before we say no more booking, please. Do it today, do it tomorrow, but on the 13th, which is the Tuesday at 5 o'clock, we'll begin, inshallah. Let's talk about our books, if you don't mind. Look, there you go. Siwash has kindly put up the link, 30 Rules of Life. And alhamdulillah, there is a great brother. He is already subscribed to it, I know. Thank you very much, Siwash, for that. 30rulesoflife.com. All you need to do to attend our program. Let's talk about the book. Go ahead.
Let's talk about books. So we at Barefoot Institute, we are passionate about education and we write books. So we've got 2 books at the moment available. If you want to do a little bit of study about neuroscience, emotional intelligence, and just have some fun about, where I traveled and what I learned about life, I've written my book. It's called Heart Smart. I call it my journey from my head to my heart. And I keep saying toes because in my mind, because my husband called it once. So it's a journey in neuroscience. So if you want to do a little bit of exploration of your emotional intelligence, if you want to understand more about how emotions actually work, what is the role of the brain and the heart. This is in my book. And the other book that we are selling on our website, which is barefootinstitute.com/bookstore. The other one is Ajmal's book, 10 Steps to Getting and Staying Married, an Islamic perspective. It's packed, it's thick, you have got theory, you have got practice, you have got worksheets, you have got all sorts of things to check out about your relationship, particularly before marriage, during marriage, and after marriage.
30 Rules of Life and my wife's journey from her head to her heart. Alhamdulillah. You want me to say head to your toe?
No.
So both of those books, please do buy. Recommend them to your friends and your family. It's a great Ramadan gift too. It's a good time to read a book. If you order it today, tomorrow, we'll put it in the post immediately, inshallah. And you should get it within the next 3-4 days. So it will be within the month of Ramadan. Please do get in touch. Do stay in touch. If we've got any questions to raise, any concerns, you can share it with us. We'll be back next Sunday, but at 11 o'clock, at 1 hour later. And inshallah, see you in the month of Ramadan on the 30 Rules of Life program.
Have a wonderful start of the fasting. Have a wonderful first couple of days, and we'll see you on Sunday next week.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum
Assalamu alaikum.
wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Kareem to you all.